I just realised my microphone wasn't in, so the first, like, 2 minutes of this, I was just talking to nobody. Right, so where was I? So this is Sunless Sea Submariner Edition. This is a little indie game that's out on pretty much everything. I think it's even on Switch these days. It's originally based on a browser game, internet browser game called Fallen London. And the lore for that game is it's the Victorian era. Queen Victoria is married to Prince Albert. Prince Albert dies, and she makes a deal with some kind of cabal of devils to bring him back to life. As part of this deal, London is subsumed by the earth and taken deep underground to a kind of weird Lovecraft, gothic horror hellscape. So in the browser game, you like potter around London, you do adventures. It's it's a fairly decent game for a browser-based game. And Sunless Sea is kind of an expansion of that. So as well as London, there is a whole underground sea full of cities and towns and cool little things for you to explore and get lost and die. It's quite a hard game. It's quite a spoopy game, but it's also really quite good. I love this game, but I've never really completed it because it's very hard and it's a roguelike, so every time you die, it's all about moving forward. There's a lot of reading in this game, as you can probably see already. There's a book open, so what I will do is read out the text and we'll see how long it takes for that to get old or boring or annoying. Please let me know. So here we are in Fallen London. 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile underneath the surface, or below the surface. The same fucking thing. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast black ocean to you. Welcome to the undersea. So you get a couple of choices. You can choose your past, or you can have a mysterious character. I'm going to go with choose my past. Just because the mysterious characters for more kind of experienced playthroughs, or when you've had a few runs. Because what happens in this game is you'll go out, you'll probably die, and then you get a new captain, and you inherit some stuff, and you slowly kind of pick up the game's systems, the game's world, the game's lore through these kind of repeated playthroughs. So what I'm going to do is create a new character. And who were you? Now you're a captain. Now you belong to the undersea. But who were you before? And we've got a street urchin, a poet, a veteran of the campaign of 68, an ordained priest, or a natural philosopher. Now, anyone who knows me will say I'm not a poet, I'm not a veteran, definitely not a priest, but I could technically be called a philosopher. So I'm going to go with philosopher. My peculiar theories on time, blood and starlight brought you down to the Neath and the cavern where London lies, and now they take you out to sea. Oh yeah, by the way, the sea in this game is spelt with Z. Just deal with it, okay? So you get the Z, the submarine, like it's all Z and based. Just roll with it, okay? There's a few idiosyncrasies. It's just, yeah. So we're going to go with natural philosopher on this one, just because that gives you a mirror bonus to mirrors, and you get a bunch of different stats. Mirrors is one of them. It makes it a bit easier to kind of detect lies and lie. With the natural philosopher, you also tend to get like a crew member. So my first crew member will be the plausible surgeon, who will serve as my ship's doctor. If I talk to him, he'll give me a little bit of backstory and normally a quest. So I have gained the natural philosopher captain title. I've gained 20 echo, which is your kind of money. So I've got 70 in total, 25 mirrors, so I'm up to 50. I've got the surgeon, and there is someone else in London looking for passage. Now, next step is choosing an ambition. So what do you want your goal in this game to be? You can do your father's bones, Your father was lost at sea. You never knew him, but you often dreamed of him. Find and return his remains to London for a decent burial. You have immortality. Eternal life sounds like something you'd enjoy. And it's said that the presbyter, the ruler of the Elder Continent, has lived forever. You've got fulfillment, so gather 100 tales, learn all you can, kind of explore. You've got wealth. You know how it is to be poor. Now you want a mansion, servants, fine clothes, a family perhaps. If you just want to like make bank in the game. And then you've got a private kingdom. Establish a colony where you are absolute ruler. A utopia perhaps. Perhaps. You can't pick this starting off just because, again, it's one of those things that kind of you need to know a bit about the game before you can really get your head around it. So I'm going to go with wealth. I want money. Money, money now. Give me money. So the undersea is full of riches, death and darkness too, but it's worth the gamble. So to win, I have to gather a substantial retirement fund, upgrade my lodgings to a mansion, so I've got to buy a mansion, and retire. Now, a last scrap of paperwork. Captain, an irregularity with the Harbour Master's office. They wish to know, what term of address do you prefer ashore? This game gives you a couple of options. It was kind of ahead of its time back then. So I've got Madam, Sir, Citizen, My Lord, My Lady, and Captain. It's got to be Captain, hasn't it? Like, I'm on a boat. I'm going to be in charge of the boat. I'm a captain, man. So last piece of advice. Explore. Take chances. This captain will probably die. The sea is hungry. But each captain passes on lessons to the next. So we are finally done. Almost done making our character. So I've got to pick one of these kind of archetypes. These kind of outlines. I'm going to go with man with hat and mustache. Have they got someone with a beard? He's got kind of a beard. He's got kind of a beard. I'm going to go with beards, glasses, man. It's going to be Adam. Or rather Dave. The first. Because this guy probably not going to live long. There we go. Right. So now we are finally getting into what is a large part of this game, which is going through menus and clicking things. So we are in Fallen London. Deep, dark and marvellous. All voyages start here, and this is where successful voyages end. So I've got a tutorial for the submarine. This will tell me how to acquire a submarine. We'll leave that for now. I've got a book of advice for captains. And this will be a kind of tutorial book. So we have stuff like... The much lamented M. Demew found a watery grave long, long ago. Probably your end will be no better. But if you read this book of invaluable advice, your chances will improve. On endings and beginnings. Captains often die. This is not the end. When you die, you'll learn lessons which will help you survive next time. Beware, the layout of the undersea changes with each new captain, but home waters are stable, and the islands will only move so far. Future captains can inherit some skills, officers, equipment, and money. Over time, you'll find extra items and advantages that will allow you to preserve a greater inheritance. So yeah, as you go through the game, you will kind of carry stuff over to your next captain, and you kind of learn the tricks to maximize that. On exploration. Exploration is the heart of the game. Risk brings reward. Staying close to London is safe, but eventually you'll run out of fuel and supplies. Exploring and playing port stories, will allow you to find secrets and echoes. Spending secrets and echoes. They're kind of a currency that you use in conversations in this game. You speak to your officers to spend secrets on improving your abilities. Spend echoes on equipment in ports. You can often find officers in London. So the doctor I picked up, he would be one of those officers. On Mercy. Unforgiving mode is how the game is meant to be played. One autosave, updated whenever you reach port, and wiped on death. If you're getting frustrated, or you want a more leisurely exploration, you can switch to Merciful mode. I tend to play on Unforgiving mode. It's fun, but you will die a lot. That's the downside. On Machines, your prow lamp dispels darkness and reduces terror. Allows you to find Z-marks. Your engines, of course, drive the ship forward into the night. So you've got to worry about terror in this game. Terror is basically how shit afraid you and your crew are. If it reaches too much, you all go mad and kill each other. So you don't want that to happen. You can see up in the kind of top left of the screen, we've got a whole bunch of gauges. There's a flame one with the 10, that's your fuel. You've got the knife and fork, that's your food supplies or just supplies. And then you've got the little skull, that is your terror. You do not want any of those to reach max or you are going to be fucked. As you can see, there's still a lot more in the learning book. You've got a Seabat Scout, which allows you to scout areas. You have got fighting, so you can fight with your ship against other ships and horrific sea creatures. And on stories, whenever you go into a port, there will be something interesting to do, someone interesting to do, to speak with. Excuse me. There will be sometimes a little thing waiting you when you're in the port, like this says. You'll hear bells, or there'll be a little kind of logo in the bottom left corner that will tell us that there's new stuff back in London. And on other stories, so Sunless Sea, like I say, is not the only game set in the Fallen London universe. You've got the Fallen London game at the website, and now there is also a sequel to Sunless Seas called Sunless Skies, which involves trains in space. I am very much excited about playing that, but I haven't got it quite yet. So again, this is just a little tutorial book, so what I can do, sell this book for a bit of money. So that's 50 extra echoes. I'm now up to 120. So I've got a passenger that wants to board. Let's see what they want. And the passenger will be a unsettled salvager, and they want to go to Venderblight. I'll take them. So she's on board. We're going to Venderblight. Venderblight is a little beginner town. It's just up the coast. I know how to get there fairly easily. So we will explore our lodgings. So I can read the morning papers, the Unexpurgated Gazette, the magazine formerly known as the London Magazine, the Spiteful Trumpeter. News. So this will get me a little scrap of news, and I can use that news in my travels. I can trade information with people. So the Khanate is threatening war. They always are. London's colonies on the Carnelian coast want independence. They always do. The Undersea, the papers report, has undergone another alteration. Not yet, it hasn't, you'd know. A promotional coupon from Mrs. Plenty's Provisioners for a half cask of salt herring. You could use that. So that's giving me some recent news and some supplies. I'm now up to 6 supplies. Lovely stuff. My lodgings, because I don't own anywhere at the moment, is I can rent out a place if I need to. But I don't. I could buy an elegant townhouse. I can consider retirement, which will give me options to retire, but I don't have a house or a mansion for that one. Or we can go back into the city. So we can visit the Admiralty's survey office. They pay for information from captains. Find out what and how. The Admiralty's picket fleets and intelligence networks are long gone. The survey office pays sea captains a small sum for recent information. So I can visit and investigate ports to gain port reports, and then come back here and cash them in. The first time I go to a place and return it, I'll also gain an Admiralty's favour. So if there's anything in particular they need, I can ask them. So they want me to go to a certain port, speak to their agent there and return, and I'll be rewarded. That port is Gaidersmorn or Gaidersmorn in the Corsair's Forest. So that's going to be somewhere nearby. So Gaidersmorn in the Corsair's Forest. I can ask to speak to a higher authority, but I don't have an appointment, so I have to prove myself. So that's the Admiralty. There's more to be done there. We can visit the university. The university has an inexhaustible appetite for secrets, sea specimens, and other tidbits of esoteric lore. Provide a secret to prove yourself worthy of entry. So I've got to find a secret again, go to port, or you know, talk to someone. I can carouse in the docks, but I can't yet because I have not left the docks to come back to carouse. I can hire some more crew, which I have 8 out of 10 crew. You can see that up in the top right hand of the screen underneath my character avatar. 8 crew is fine. I shouldn't need any more than that for now, so I'm not going to pick up any more. We are at full hull, which is over on the top left of the screen, so I'm not going to do any repairs. I can take a tomb colonist to Venderblight, which is convenient because we've already got someone going to Venderblight, so I will accept that. It is oddly difficult to die in Fallen London, but when a Londoner is too tatty and wretched to live, they wrap themselves in bandages and take ship for the tomb colonies. Your crew cart these aboard in padded coffins. They sleep there until their journey is done. So this is a mummy, essentially, a living mummy, and I'm going to be taking them down the river to Venderblight. And have we got anything else? A new recruit, but I can't do them yet. So that's everything in London. Everything in the main page of London. We have now got to explore the rest of my journal. Again, there's a fair bit of setup in this game. So we've got the boat. It looks like our boat is called Kilgore, which I can live with. It's a Legia class steamer. As you can see, you have slots, and you can equip certain things into certain slots to kind of give you bonuses. As for my cargo, I have 10 fuel, I have 6 supplies, I have a tomb colonist, I have the Invictus token, which basically means I'm playing in unforgiving mode, and I have some recent news. We can go to the journal, which will tell us what objectives, what missions, what stuff we've got going on. At the moment, not much. So I have a couple of memoirs just describing my character. For objectives, we've got our ambition, which is to make it rich. We've got the Admiralty commission to go to Gaidersmorn, and we have a tomb colonist who wants to go to Venderblight. And Misk, I've got the other passenger that wants to go to Venderblight, almost safe, and access to the DLC, this Submariner. Now, if you pick this game up on most platforms other than PC, it's going to have the Submariner DLC included with it, so you don't have to worry about buying that or anything. It's just part of the game. As for our officers, I've got my Comatose Ferret as mascot. I've got my Plausible Surgeon, and we can actually speak to him now. Hello, my dear, sit down carefully. Let me just tidy away these implements. We don't want any carelessness, do we? So I can ask after his desires, ambitions. He's travelled much, seen all manner of wound and malady, but is there anything left for him to discover? Any places he wishes to go? So he wants to go to the Chernate. You know it? They collect corpses. He shifts in his seat. Vast, noble, complicated corpses. What I would learn, what I could see. My dearest Captain, if we ever do find ourselves in the Chernate, I do hope you might might see fit to release me from our arrangement. So he wants to go to Chelena, which is on the other side of the map, and if I take him there, he will leave our ship. But I'll normally get some money or something out of it. So he wants to get taken to the Chelena. I can live with that. Finally, we have got these shops, because you have to buy and sell a lot of stuff. We've got Mrs. Plenty, who does basic stuff. The Wolf Stack, who is for kind of like selling stuff. Anything we bring from across the sea, we can bring over and sell. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. As you can see, stuff like mushroom wine, spider silk, human souls. Again, it's a very kind of gothic game. We've got the Caminus yards. They build kind of weapons and equipment for stuff for your ship. Same with the Iron and Misery Company. Same with the House of Vision. Although the House of Vision is just torches in the front of your ship. And finally, we've got the Shipyard, where I would be able to buy another boat if I had the money. There's a little like steam launch, that's like a joke ship. We've got the Ligia class, which is what we've got now. The Lampard class, which is like a small, fast fighting ship. The Forcid, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but that would be a larger ship. Cargo ship, frigate, dreadnought. Lots of boats available to buy, and they're all basically available to buy from London. Right, I've done a lot of talking. Let's get boating. So we will now launch our boat and head out into the undersea. As you can see up in the top left, you have a little kind of speed gauge. It goes from -2 to 2. That will tell us how fast we're going. So we're going at 2 now. It's a nice healthy pace. Venderblight is north along this coast. So what I'm going to do is just kind of hug this coast and head on up. As you can see, I can just remove the crew portraits and it clears up some of the map. We've just discovered Low Barnet, because again a lot of these locations are kind of around London or London based. But we will just head up the coast, and I can open them up the map. There is London right in the centre, or right in the centre of the map. It's right on the side of the game map. I can zoom out, and as you can see, quite a big map. And like I say, like the game says, it will randomly generate most of the locations of the map. Everything on this kind of left hand side where London is, and at the top of the map and the bottom of the map will stay the same. So there's kind of like a horseshoe shaped coast of the sea that will remain the same. Everything else in the middle will shuffle about. So that's how I know we're going to get to Venderblight, by going north, because this stuff always stays the same. Everything out to sea, that can get weird, that can get different. So we will initially just head to Venderblight, drop off our passengers, see what's going on at Venderblight, and then possibly sail a bit more north. But we're going through Davies Bay and Harper's Ferry, and I believe we're already, this is the kind of like bottom part of Venderblight, Carissa's Point. There we go. So yeah, we've already discovered Venderblight. As you can see, it's just along the coast. Send out a little bat, see if he finds anything. You brought this decaying emigrant north. Now what? It is everything I imagined, he tells you breathlessly. But there's someone missing. Please bring her to me. I may do some stupid voices for this, but depends how much I can be bothered. She went off to the Mangrove College. She needed to get out of London. But Venderblight is just as safe as the college, and I'll wager she's bored of mud by now. So they want me to look for a shady sort in the Mangrove College, which is somewhere to the south. So they're back with the Venderblight people, and I now have a new quest to go find someone at the Mangrove College. So we're going to check out the tomb colony of Venderblight. On the deck you can hear the sound that 1,000 bandaged dead make as they shuffle and cough. It's something like the world's most restless concert audience or the world's most plague-ridden cathedral. So the first thing I can do is find some ancient captains to speak to the unsettled salvager. Shouldn't be too hard. What else have they got to do around here but moulder? An assortment of decrepit sea captains gathers around her. Compelled by tradition, honour, or boredom, she picks her nails and closes her eyes when at last she speaks. I want you to find Lady Black. The captains that can run, do. The rest shuffle away as quickly as they are able. Only one remains behind. How long were you down there? He asks. 20 minutes, she replies. The captain puts his hand on her shoulder. Seek the House of the Keel in Polythreme, he says. But if you can forget her, do. It's possible. He embraces her and departs. So they want us to go to Polythreme now, which is another location somewhere in the oceans. We've got an option to assist a specialised collector, but unfortunately I'm not able to do that. That's currently locked, and that is locked because I need a ship capable of submarine travel. We have a weak call for help, which I'm unable to do because I do not have a machine capable of submarine travel. We can get a dusty glass of wine, but we can't because I'm not scared enough. Okay. So let's explore Venderblight. Here they favour candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. And we're going to wander through to the Lamplighters Arcade. Here they sell copper jewellery, grimacing little faces, and squat rectangular figures. A tradition from before London, they claim. You part with a few small coins for a cheery looking thing with an expression like a tipsy bat. Perhaps it will bring you good dreams. That's all for now. So is there anything else we can do here? We can visit the first curator. The first curator gives audience. The first curator is responsible for the preservation of the tomb colonies. It has been here much longer than London. Like all the oldest tomb colonists, but even tomb colonists dissolve in the end. Its time is close. So let's go see the first curator. No more light, the ubiquitous steward cautions you. The curator is terribly afraid of moths. He opens his door, and you step into the near darkness. A pair of luminous lamplighter bees buzz in a lattice ivory tube. There is no other source of light. A bandaged shape no larger than a child lies crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for you to distinguish its voice from the soft buzz of the bees. And we have a couple of options. We can ask him about the Grand Sanatorium. We can listen to a whispered request. So let's ask him about the Grand Sanatorium. Oh, Silkskin, you don't want to know. The chuckling becomes a cough. We don't die here below, not unless we go to sea. So we needed something else, somewhere to end. Sea Captain, Silkskin, not much left of me. I will go into the Grand Sanatorium. Bring me colours, 7 colours, pay well. Cosmogon, Irigo, Pelegrin, Steward has list. Find them here and there, across the wide Black Sea. So I will take his request to find some colours. So, no more words. It collapses, rustling on the back of the couch. Even the effort of speaking seems to have diminished it a little. The audience is over. As the door opens, it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the ubiquitous steward nods. The book? Yes, the book. He hands you a slim, illustrated volume. The curator is old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do hit this one last favour. And that has given me a shit ton of quests. So I have the Neath Bow, which is a book with a collection of colours that I need to find. Colours such as Epoxyan, Cosmogon, Gant, Veric, and Violent. This is a fucker of a quest, and this will take us a while. So this is going to go on the back burner, but remember, we're looking for weird colours. Weird colours, we need them. So is there anything else we can do in Vendor Bite? We can gather some gossip. So that will get us a port report. So that is something the Admiralty wants. So we can find out who's plotting what out in the tomb colonies. Along the coasts of the undersea, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London and become tomb colonists and settle here in bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. You gather a haul of complex clues, enough to keep your contracts in London interested. So that looks like everything we can do in Venderblight right now. We can also have a quick look to see what is in Venderblight's shop, if they have any, which they've got a couple. They've got the Arcade of Size, where they sell fuel and supplies and candles, and well, they only sell candles. They only buy candles, sorry, and mushroom wine. But we can get some fuel and supplies here, but it is marked up from the London prices. So you have to remember, if you're buying fuel and supplies, you really want to do it at London or a couple other places that have cheap stuff. This is a bit of a price gouge, so don't buy supplies at Venderblight. We've got the Hollow Temple, which allows you to sell some more esoteric stuff, like a Memory of Distant Shores or a Monstrous Almanac. And then they've got the Charnel House, which allows you to sell tomb colonists. If I come across any tomb colonists along my travels, I can bring them back here, get a nice pretty penny for them. So, what do we need to do now? We have got a mission to go to Mangrove College, we've got a polythreme, and we've got the colours. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to head north to the next town, which I believe is Wither. I believe it is Wither. And we might even get to some combat along the way. So let's have a look. Again, just gonna cruise up the coast here. And see what we find. As you can see, my supplies are already down to 7 fuel and 5 food. So I'm going to give it a little bit more exploring, and then I'm going to start the loop back to London. Because the last thing you want to do is be stuck in the middle of the ocean with no food or no fuel. That moving object just to the right there, that is a iceberg, or it will fuck me up, so I need to keep that to one side basically. A lifeberg, sorry. Yeah, it's got 400 life, which compared to our hull of 75 means it will take a while to take out. But here we are, we're just coming up to Wither. Let's see what the deal is with Wither. Behind the great arch over the bay, the pale wastes stretch, white and silent as the face of the moon. From here, you might almost imagine they were snow. North of the city, the salt pools fizz with unlikely colour. Wither is a quiet, chilly town of grey stone and closed courtyards. The people are neither exactly unfriendly nor exactly hospitable, so it's Glasgow. They have the irritating habit of answering a question with a question, so it's definitely Glasgow. Here and there are odd sights tucked away. The wind speaks. You fall into a reverie as you wander the shore. There are words in the wind, a story of sorts, of a gate in the north, of a pale light that began there, of a drowned light that will end there, of a high wilderness that other ships may sail. You lift your eyes. On the wall of a salt works, someone has scrawled, "Is there a sea more sunless?" Ah, they said the thing. So I guess there's a fragment which build into secrets, and that has now also got us the attention of one of the gods of the sea, Storm. That we probably don't want. Having any kind of god's attention, not a good thing. So we can gather some intelligence. The citizens of Wither enjoy questions so much that they always answer a question with another question. This can make intelligence gathering frustrating. Are you asking for any particular reason? At what time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6? It could be 6. Eventually you cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report. So that's gotten us another port report. So we can cash that in back when we get to London. Nice. And as you can see now, I would have the option to do some shore leave, but I'm still not scared. So that's good. If you ever get too scared, you can find a port, have some shore leave, and it will kind of reduce some of the terror. But for now, we are good. I'm just trying to remember if there's a shop here. There is, but we're not buying anything here. As you can see, the figurehead of the Eater of Names. That sells for an extraordinary implication. So everything in this name is weird and gothically named, but you quickly pick up on the important stuff. So now we're done with Wither. I'm going to head north just a little bit more, but we're going to have to watch out because there is a lifeboat just around there out of my line of sight that I am not too keen to meet. There he is. So what we're going to do is avoid that boy because he will chew us up like tissue paper. And he's seen us. That's not good. So I am just gonna squeaky bum time. Oh, he's coming for me. I'll just thread through here because he's too big to go through the icebergs. Ooh. See, every time you hit your boat, you will lose some life, so it does matter. The little dings, they will add up. Just gonna try and lose this guy. So right now we're at the very top of the map. As you can see. Now there is certain things for going off the edge of the map. We're not going to explore that just now. This is just your initial kind of run out at sea. But there is interesting story choices to be made from going off the map in basically every cardinal direction, north, south, east or west. But for now we have only got 4 fuel, 4 supplies. So I'm going to start heading south again. And we're basically going to loop down back to London. Oh, that's not good. So that's Mount Nomad. He's got 1,000 life and he will fuck you up like Percocet. I am hoping he's not seen me. As the logbook says, the black glass mountain that eats ships. Not a good place. And We have got the Chapel of Lights. I was not expecting the Chapel of Lights, but I will take it. Oh. Whiffed it. The Chapel of Lights. Furtive faithful gather in the shadows between the many, many candles. A bell tolls in the chapel tower, cracked iron laughter. Beware, the aisle is full of voices. A smiling priest unlocks the door of the storehouse for you. Here, he says, eat, but take nothing away from you. Now, I'm gonna leave that for now. We can give a nightmare to the well. The well drinks colour, the smiling priest whispers. The well drinks dreams, and the well is always thirsty. So if I was having a nightmare, or particularly bad psychic time, I could come here and, you know, buy some peace, essentially. But we don't need to do that right now. We can gather some intelligence about what occurs here between the darkness and the light. A smiling priest in a red cassock tends to the chapel. The congregation are shy of light. They come and go in little ships, and it's strangely difficult to count them. Perhaps some of them are imaginary. Still, you note the name of a ship or two, and that's got a support report. Lovely stuff. And I was gonna attend the chapel, but we've not got enough supplies, so we won't be doing that. So let's just head on out, because I don't trust them enough to attend one of their services. This isn't me being a weird atheist, I'm just, I don't know, doesn't seem cool to me. Oh, we've got something over to the left there, it looks like a whirlpool. The Kizigar Vortex. Anything out here? Come on now. Oh, that looks like land. That looks like it might be Gator's Morn. Or close to it. Yeah, boy! So if we can mark that on our map, Gator's Morn is directly south. Lovely stuff. Because we needed to go there for the Admiralty. So they can tick that one off the list. I'm gonna start turning my torch off. We've only got 2 fuel left, and I really don't want to run out. There's Gator's Morn, almost missed it. Just dock at Gator's Morn. Lovely stuff. The Morn is a stalagmite vast as a crag, and its foot has no safe harbours. The Corsair's citadel nestles halfway up. An intricate system of winches takes the strain, and your ship rises slowly from the sea. Her hull creaks in protest. Grizzled sailors groan and cling to stanchions. Higher, higher. Now the undersea shimmers like glass below. Children clambering in crevices cheer and wave alarmingly. The winch motor slows, and you hang in a cradle next to a red-bowed pirate cutter. Now, interesting yet useless tidbit for you here. How do you know the difference between a stalagmite and a stalactite? This was told to me by my geography teacher, and it's something that's always stuck in my head. Stalactites go down, stalagmites go up. Tights go down. Yeah, it's not particularly nice mnemonic device, but it works. Fucking works. So we've got an option to drink at the local pub, but it is pretty sketchy. It looks like it's going to be a tough challenge there. A drinking den by the dock cradles is a good place for you and your crew to find companionship and let off steam. But although Gator's Morn is a free port, the Corsairs prefer their own and look askance at respectable Londoners. So it's a flat roof pub kind of deal. If I go in there, I'm going to get my head kicked in. So I'll leave that for now. But what I can do is pay the loitering docker for his strategic information. The Admiralty sent you. Price has gone up. It's not safe here. You'll pay the price, won't ye? You're a generous soul. You'll have your reward the other side of the river one day. And here's to a little reward for now. Good sailing to ye. The report is barely legible. Perhaps that's part of the code. The Admiralty will know. That cost me 5 echo, and I've got the report for the Admiralty. So, bam. That's a nice little bit of money back when we get to London. I can explore the Morn. There's a surprising quantity of actual landscape on the Morn. It's vertical, admittedly, but once you find the beast paths and urchin roads, you can traverse it as you would a rocky moor, with the additional throatful of lurching terror. Hull-by, a street vendor turns skewers on a grill. They make sense. They're like nothing like anything sold in London. So why don't I try some Troglodyte Prawns? They're huge and pale and their eyes stare bleakly into you, but they smell fresh. I'm not particularly enthused in trying that, but why not? It's not bad at all. Tangy and toothsome. Walk on, chewing cheerfully. So that's lost us a bit of terror, back down to basically nothing. Got another fragment, so that's a secret on the way. And we've lost 5 hunger, which is good because we were running a bit low on supplies. And let's see if there's anything else we can do. We can overhear rumours of a pirate poet. Landlubbers fear pirates. Pirates fear the poet. Lies, nonsense, glimmers. Some say she's a clayman who freed herself with the power of verse. Possible. Others insist that she's personal muse of the king with 100 hearts. Unlikely. One claims she sails on a living ship made of the still screaming skulls of her victims. More sober voices mutter that no, it's just an Ecclesias class vessel. Whatever the truths, few have fought her and survived to tell the tale. Only the bravest of captains risk the lonely parts of the sea where her flag is said to fly. That is set up for a DLC they never bothered to introduce into the game, so just absolutely pointless. But you can't win them all. We can also gather intelligence, which is another port report. Gator's Morn swarms with pirates, smugglers and captains of uncertain allegiance. I could learn a lot here, but you need to go carefully. So that's a high risk challenge, and I've got a 30% chance of success. I'm going to go for it. So let's cross our tits and hope for the best. You and one of your more villainous looking sailors join a dice game. Villainous looking, but you know for a fact that she tithes to charity and has a delightful singing voice. The topic turns promisingly to pillage and ambush, but your sailor is a little too forward with her questions. There is a scuffle and a stabbing. You escape, and she does not. So that failed. I've got a port report, I've got some terror, and I've got that crew member killed. So, sorry love, that's on me. That's my bad on that one. So we could introduce Blemigans, but I don't have Blemigans again. Blemigans are essentially like sentient mushrooms. You'll meet a Blemigan, don't worry. And we can have a quick look at the shops again, where they will sell fuel and supply for 30 and 40 a piece. That is a outrage. And you can sell some more stuff here as well. Again, Gator's Morn is a kind of little bit of a smuggler's port, so you can get all sorts sold here. But now what we're going to do is we've got 3 free food or supplies and 2 fuel. Fuel is also used by your lamp, so we are just going to head straight down diagonally towards London and hope we don't run out of fuel. I really hope we don't run out of fuel. You can burn supplies. I might need to go lamp off. I'm going to go lamp off. So you can travel without your lamp, but that will increase your terror in spoopy areas. At the moment we're doing alright. I think the light we're just going through here, that little kind of circle with an illumination, that should stop the terror, but as soon as we get out of that, our terror is going to start popping up. You can see, yep, by that little skull up in the top right, or top left, my bad, it's red and it's ticking up fast. So I'm just going to hope there is nothing between us and London, and we can just scoot on straight down there. Lovely, nice and quick. Is this Hunter's Keep? Okay, we're popping to Hunter's Keep on the way back. A quiet isle, a grand old house. A hump of dark rock swathed in mist. Like 100 other undersea islands, but there's a grand house here. Windows aglow. Lawns impossibly green and lush in the false starlight. Raked gravel paths. You stand on the dock as the sea nudges the ship's sides. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. So we can present ourselves at the house. They would have heard us come in. Why hide? So we knock and enter. A maid with smouldering topaz eyes shows you into the parlour, where 3 young women wait. I've seen this video. A visitor, the youngest cries. The next youngest chuckles. The eldest sighs. Do excuse the indecorum, she says. Visitors are rare. You are very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe. The cheerful one is Lucy. You are in a good time for lunch. Will you join us? So I have become acquainted with the sisters of Hunter's Keep. And I get to have lunch with one of them. So who are we going to pick? Do we go with Cynthia? Melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. Do we go with Lucy, the middle sister? She's sunny, restless, prone to giggles. Or do we go with Phoebe, who's soft voice, watchful, and predictable? Unpredictable, my bad. Well, if any of you know me, I like my women melancholy, pensive, and occasionally dramatic. So let's have lunch with Sylvia. Sylvia grabs your arm and whispers to you. Her eyes are wide and blue. Her hair is wild and tangled. Bats might nest in it. She seems to you that you are sitting on a hillside above a wide blue lake, listening to a story of a murder, an axe, a net, blood on scented water. Another chop? Cynthia asks. You've barely touched your food. Here, I'll have the maid wrap something up for you. You can't be hungry. It's not safe to be hungry. So that's gained me a little bit of terror because she's a bit weird. It's also gained me a tale of terror, which I can sell or use. I've gained 1 supplies. I'm acquainted with the sisters now. And the gods of the sea, Salt's attention. Salt's got my attention. So now we've got the attention of both Salt and Storm. That's not good. So let's have a quick look. So we have a little scout around the island. Plunging cliffs, soft green lawns, a well tucked away in a fold of the grounds. Anything else? Ships rarely come here, nothing changes, even the weather. The house is the heart of the isle, the house and the sisters. But the Admiralty may be happy to know that nothing's changed at least. So that gets us another port report. We can try to go see them again, but they're not receiving visitors. The parlour is empty. Where are the sisters? The maid makes it clear through a series of unwelcoming growls that Phoebe, Lucy and Cynthia are all 3 indisposed. No lunch today, apparently. But I've got a little ace up my sleeve. I've got some news. So even when the sisters aren't feeling sociable, they can be tempted out of their lair by the smell of new stories. So I knock on the door and I wait. You ask the sulphur-eyed maid to carry a few hints of your news to the sisters. Oddly enough, she comes back with a message that their headaches are cured, and you're invited to lunch. Luminescent beasts like eyeless dolphins play in your wake. And I no longer have any of recent news. So I had lunch with Cynthia before. Let's go with Lucy. She's sunny, restless, and prone to giggles, which I can live with. A daft tale. Lucy leans over and whispers to you confidentially a complex story about a butler, a pig, and an inheritance. You don't follow the details of the plot, but somehow the pig ends up in an attic and the butler in a vicar's bed. Candles flicker, the dishes enter and leave, and the wind butts gently at the window frames. By the time your plum pudding has arrived, you're as cheerful as you've been in months. So that's got me some more terror reduced. I'm acquainted with the sisters. She's given me more supplies, and now I have Stone's attention. So there are 3 sea gods: Salt, Storm, and Stone. And all 3 of them have me on their books now. So we're going to see how that pays off. But that's it for Hunter's Keep and the sisters right now. I've got no more news. I can't woo them with that. So we're going to head back to London and cash in those port reports and the Admiralty information and see how much money and kind of supplies and fuel that gets us before deciding to head out, where we'll probably go south and see what's going on. Here we go, back to London. Now, just before I go back into London, I'm going to sail down here quickly and just see if there's anything I missed. I haven't got the fuel to fuck about like that, so we're just going straight back into London. I didn't realise we were that low. So we've returned to London. We've just done a first little lap. And that took us, what, an hour? That was not too bad. So I have a gentleman waiting on the docks for me, a little gift. A very fine evening to you, Captain. My, what you might call mentor, is very fond of adventurous sea captains, and he would like to offer you what you might call a dispensation, on account of he is so fond of sea captains. Beyond the blind bruiser, on the dock, stands a stray, piled high with fuel and supplies. Now, do I take this? Do I inquire further? Do I refuse? So who is this patron? What's the catch? What's the deal? He runs a very fine and very liberal establishment just across the river, what is much patroned by sailors and by men of wit and vinegar. An public house. And there is no obligation to speak of. My patron would hope only that you might remember him kindly, and I suppose that if the opportunity should arise for you to return his kindness, then I do not imagine he would refuse your offer. So there's definitely strings attached to this stuff. It's cheap though, so I'm gonna take it. Well, my patron hopes that you find these little gifts to your liking, and he expects that perhaps someday you might choose to call on him at the Medusa's Head. Should that day come, we will make you very welcome and give you any safe conduct what you might require. Good evening to you. He salutes and he's gone. So that's got me 10 fuel, 5 supplies, and I have a suspicion by the guards, and I accepted the proposal. So now, at some point, I'm probably going to get a guy being like, you're going to do this thing for us, bud. You're going to fucking sort this out, bro. You're going to fucking sort this out. So, we'll deal with that when it comes up. So let's go to London. Let's go to the Admiralty Survey Office. And let's just cash in those port reports. So we have Gator's Morn. You have something to tell us of the pirate fleets of the forest? That gains me 30 echoes. I've got a favour, and I've been one more fuel as well. Lovely stuff. Hunter's Keep. Excuse me. 5 more echoes. Another fuel. Vendor Blight, 10 echoes, 1 more fuel. Wither. I refuse to ask any questions. I don't want to give them the satisfaction. Again, they are painting Wither as if it is just Glasgow. That got us 20 echoes and another fuel. And in the Chapel of Lights, there's something about the undersea that breeds heresy and dissent. I rather think we might need to send the Bishop of Southwark out for a good bit of Christian shouting. That gets us 20 more echoes, 1 more fuel. Admiralty favourite up to 5. And then I've got my strategic information. What's that? Indeed, I'll send you up directly to speak to the Admiral himself. So that gets a foot in the door and we can speak to the dark spectacled Admiral. You are ushered into the office of a mansion's pyre, a cramped room with a vast desk. He surveys you across that desk. Ah yes, the merchant captain, of whom we hear such complicated things. He will purchase intelligence from us. So we can now cut out the middleman and go directly to this guy if we've got more important stuff that isn't just port reports. He will also do stuff like assist with fuel. I can pass on strategic information. He's hard to read, but with those glasses... Oh, excuse me. He's hard to read, but... Excuse me. He's hard to read with those glasses, but he reads the summary intently. Satisfactorily, he says at last. Eminently satisfactory, actually. Good work. Take this for your trouble. The clerk will see you're paid. That got us 150 echoes, boy! And another Admiralty's favour, which is up to 6. We can submit our port reports. We can submit a revelatory chart if we have one. Speak of moves in the great game. You can ask what he needs. Information. Visit a port and will be interested in the port report. Visit places of particular interest and will be interested in the strategic information you gain thereby. We will pay you well, don't worry. We understand you can't be expected to act entirely for the love of the Empire. His lip curls. What's left of it? And then we have also got the option to ask him in particular if there's anything of his need. Ask him if there's anything in particular if he needs. My brain's starting to go already, and it's only been an hour. Jesus Christ. Speak to our agent there and return. We'll see that you are rewarded. He wants us to go to the Avid Horizon. Oh boy. So the Avid Horizon is up on the north of the map. That's a ways, but we can go there. We can definitely go there. And there is nothing else we can do right now with the Admiral. So bye-bye, Admiral. We have got enough to open the university, though. So let's go see what's in the university. Oh yes, the university's maritime liaison whispers breathily. Oh yes, this is quite a tasty one. Let me explain it to you. He explains, teeth glinting. So I've lost the secret, but I now have the antiquarian on our side, and I've gained a pages, which is one of our stats. That is good. The alarming scholar is mercurial, to say the least. A creature of sudden moods and provoking teeth. Possibly her. Is it her? Appointment as University Maritime Liaison was precautionary to keep his. Is it his? Razor-sharp enthusiasm from causing too many injuries in the faculty. Ah yes, the scholar whispers breathily. I have a budget for acquisitions. What have you brought me? So this is someone else I can bring stuff to and trade stuff with. So you can sell them searing enigmas, or a dread surmise, extraordinary implication. I don't have any of these at the moment, so I'm basically leaving. Take care. You have business to attend to, and besides, the scholar keeps snapping her teeth like a mechanical trap. We can hire some more crew, which we're at 7 out of 10, so I'm still going to leave it. I know I got that crew member killed at Gator's Morn. Don't need to replace him just yet. So we're leaving for now. Boat's only on 72 out of 75, so we don't need a repair. Let's explore the lodgings. We can read the morning papers and get more news. News from home. The Echo Bazaar, the enigmatic marketplace, has increased its tax on love stories. The traitor empress has forbidden singing in the street outside her palace. The anarchists of the Calendar Council have inexplicably dynamited a drinking fountain. The Ministry of Public Decency has located and destroyed a nest of gold-blighted wasps. So again, there's a lot of kind of, I'm not going to say generic, but kind of weird gothic horror stuff going on in the background. The traitor empress is what they now call Queen Victoria. After the deal with the devil went down and London was dragged into this dimension, or whatever you want to call it, she basically retreated to her castle, her home, her palace. She's not been seen since. She is reclusive, whatever you want to say the word is. So that's some news. What are we doing for supplies and cargo? We've got 15 fuel and 9 supplies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stock up on supplies. I'm going to get us up to 15 supplies. So we have now got 30, 15 of both. I'm going to have a quick look in London. But I can't recruit anyone new yet. And we're now up to 230 echoes, so with that money I will actually go to Bultitude's House of Vision and I will buy a cheap lamp. Now if I can just check my ship, yeah, there we go. So we'll go to Bultitude's House of Vision, we'll buy the Whithorn Optical, and then we should be able to install that on the bridge. So that will give us an improved one to our mirrors. Now you may be thinking, mirrors, pages, veils, what is all this stuff? I didn't really explain it that well, so I'll just expand the player information here up at the top left. And as you can see, you've got a bunch of numbers, a 25, a 51, a 25, a 27 and a 27. So it goes, you've got your iron, you've got your mirror, you've got your veils, your pages, and your hearts. Is it hearts? Oh god, I've forgotten already. That's bad. But essentially that's your stats. And you will slowly increase those as you play. They will get reset when your captain dies, but there is some things you can do to carry over stats to the next captain. Anyway, we've done everything we need to do in London. We've done our first loop, as you can see, just a little loop around the kind of top left of the map. Now we're going to head south, baby. We need to go to the Avid Horizon, which is going to be somewhere at the top there. So I'm thinking go south for a bit, then head up north and kind of see what we find. Music for this game will kick in. It's one of my favourite things. I enjoy the music of this game. We've got a light ship here. So what we can do is actually just head straight to them. Dock. They will actually, we can trade some of the news I got from the newspaper just a moment ago in London. Tea beneath the light, in the bleaching glare of the lens, among the smells of oil and metal, you sip tea and chat. The Z's terror recedes. So I've swapped the recent news for a C story, or a Z story. I can trade or sell those at other places. So it's good to have one of those. Let's head out into the wilds, I guess. Now, again, the map is kind of procedurally generated, so I honestly don't know what we're going to find. I've just spotted Mutton Island, so that will be directly south. Let's go explore Mutton Island, I guess. And the town of Quaker's Haven. Quaker's Haven. Once this simple fishing village was part of the London suburbs before London fell and the waters rushed in. Smoke spirals from cottage chimneys. A lonely hill rises behind town. So there's an option to speak to the wandering parson, but I can't do that because, again, I do not have a submarine. We can have some drinks at the Cock and Magpie. That will cost us 20 echoes. Might leave that for a while. I can pick up a Wretched Mog, which is a mascot, one variety of officer. I've already got my ferret. Kind of like the ferret, so I'm going to stick with the ferret. And we can chat to the fishermen. They sail around the sea, around the island. They mend their nets by the harbour. They see all that happens here, but you'll need coin to open their mouths. So I've flicked them a little coin, and they've given me a little port of Quaker's Haven. Pirates plying the waves, smugglers at their work, carnate ships putting in to resupply. Nothing dramatic, but enough to interest the Admiralty. So that's a little bit of money for when we get back to dock. Not much else we can do at Quaker's Haven, Mutton Island, so we're going to head on out. Salt mines, eh? It's all very good and well telling me there's something underwater. I can't do it, mate. I've not got a submarine. Ooh, that's a big boy crab over there. We're just going to keep on keeping on away from you, buddy. Demure Island. Okay. We have discovered the Iron and Misery Fungi Station. You know, I'm not going to fuck with that crab right now. But I do want to find something just so I can show you guys what the combat is like in this game. But welcome to Demure Island, or Demurx Island, or however you want to pronounce it. I am incredibly bad at pronouncing things, so enjoy that. Enjoy that burp as well. But no, so we have the Iron and Misery Company Fungi Station. I&M is a fungi operation here, felling giant boleus shrooms for building materials, harvesting kirali for its medicinal purposes. It's a desperate little outpost of something like civilization. Up puffs the affable factor. Oh, hello, Captain. Thank God for visitors. We'd go quite mad out here otherwise. Quite mad. How can we be of assistance? So we can have tea with the factor. The poor fellow needs the company, and he can spare an hour away from the schedule. You sit on the veranda of the factor's house, looking out over the fungal jungle, an expanse of green and sour gold. The air is thick with hovering spores. The scones are stale, even the tea has a hint of mildew. But the factor is good company. He shares odd stories about the ice and roses of Irem, the monstrosities of the Sea of Lilies, and a little restaurant in Venderblight where he enjoyed the most extraordinarily seafood. Venderblight, I know. I've never met a tomb colonist who could cook, but you must visit the place. Do you know it? He also has a load of Boleus frond carted aboard your ship. He waves away your thanks. I've eaten so much of the stuff I fear I might be transformed entirely into fungus. He leans confidentially towards you. It happens, you know. But one does have to eat a rather lot of it first. So again, that's got us a little bit of terror knocked off. We've got some more fragments working towards a secret. We've gained one supply, even if it is disgusting mushrooms. And we've been told of an exceptionally fine restaurant in Venderblight. So let's see what else we can do here. We can compile a port report. The business of spores. Of course, I&M's activities here don't seem that interesting. Nevertheless, record what you can, and that gives us another port report for Mutton Island. And we can gather some supplies. Some of the island's fungus is good to eat. Some is poisonous, hallucinogenic, or mischievous. Good luck. It's a matter of luck, so we can basically take a 60% chance on this one. I will go for it. The fug of dread, the spores lay thick on your face, the coat your tongue. One crewman begins to whimper. Oh Christ, he says, they've reached my heart. I think I'll be harvest yet. Harvest yet! You have to drag him back to the ship before he's calm again. So that didn't work out, and it got us more terror. That's not what we were hoping for. So that is everything at Mutton Island, unless they have... Oh, they've got a shop that's selling fuel at 20 and supplies at 30, so no thank you, lads. No thank you. And we will head on out. Past the Foskeen Bleaks. And we will start heading north, I say. Yes, let's head north. Because there is a place where I can get fuel. Oh. 180 out of 180. Has he seen me? He's seen me. Oh dear. Ooh. So that took us down to 68, but we see... I think we got away from him. Burned a fair bit of fuel, but I think we got away from him. We'll just start heading straight up from this point now. So, what have we got on the list to do? Polythreme, Avid Horizon. Ooh. Fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's do some combat. See, now what you want to do is get right up their arse so they can't shoot you. Some ships do have rear-mounted guns, but these ones do not. Oh no, there's two of them now. Oh fuck. Time to get out of it. Well, I found the salt lines at least. Got no time to stop in there though. We're not too bad. The hull's at 55, but there's no way I'm taking on 2 ships at the same time. I'm gonna start a boat with no improved weapons. So Gator's Maw will continue to be right in front of us. So we want to go round that, preferably. Having the salt lines directly in front of London is cushy, because there's a nice little arena you can do back and forth from London and the salt lines. A soft wind from the east, the impossible scent of pine. Another big boy. Rift, and looks like we're hitting some snow, which is not good. So these big storms will slow you right down. A ragged crow, you say? Okay. See if I can go around this storm towards the top, towards the north. If not, then we might be in trouble because there's a big fucking moth. I hope you guys don't like moths. Gap just here we can sneak through. Looking for the Avid Horizon, which is a huge imposing kind of gate thing at the top of the map. I have a feeling we've passed it and it's in that little black bit there, but we shall see. Frost found. It's been a while. Make a little stop at Stoddard's Haven and see what's going on there, I guess. Frostbound! Towers and ramps and galleries and stairs of ice, raised and spun like an architect's honey dream. And no spider ever wove so complex a web. The towers are utterly pristine, untouched by human life, but a pitiable encampment squats by the dock. So we can engage an officer, the Tireless Mechanic. The Tireless Mechanic has had enough of Frostbound. He smiles at you over his spectacles, teeth chattering. So glad to see a ship at last, ready to offer my services. I'm an engineer, finest you'll ever hire. Treat engines like my own children. Not that I have children, too busy. I'm usually busy. So he will increase bales and fuel efficiency for 20 echoes. I will take that man. Welcome aboard. Spot of rust, spot of rust. Soon see to that, you there. Help me with this spot of rust. And we've got the Tireless Mechanic on board. We can take tea with the squatters at the dock. Some of them wear the robes of Irimi riddle fishers. Some look like withering folk, but even more ragged. But they do seem a little more practical than either of those people. We're keeping the steps for the game of truths, a helpful riddle fisher explains, as she fills your cup for the third time. Every year the people of Irim and Wither meet here for... She pauses. Contests, she finished vaguely. The difference between a question and a riddle. One day someone will prove themselves enough to enter the castle. You spend a few pleasant hours whilst the tea is supplemented with Irimi liquors, pale withering beer, and something the riddle fisher describes blandly as snake cake. They offer you fuel and supplies before you leave. We have enough to spare, the riddle fisher grins. From time to time a captain gets lost and comes up here, and we always feel bad for them. So that's got us some supplies, some fuel, and it's knocked off some terror, which is always good to see. We can create a report. What are the squatters up to? Not all are Irimi or Withern. There's an odd researcher, the occasional deranged ice sculptor, now and then a very cold, very sad, rubbery man. But for the most part, an atmosphere of friendly rivalry reigns. So that's gotten us a port report. And we can enter Frostbound. So let's see what Frostbound is about. Face the wall. You probably shouldn't do that, one of the squatters advises. Ignore her. Face the wall. Examine your cloudy reflection. Close your eyes. Step forward. Shiver. Frostbound radiates both cold and a subtler chill of the heart. Did you move at all? Or is it just your reflection that moved? You are inside Frostbound. Lights! 100 rich and blinding colours filter through the ice. It's like drinking a kaleidoscope. It's like being kidnapped by rainbows. The colours shift with every step you take, revealing shining corridors. In each and every corridor your reflection waits. Do we enter the Sapphire Chamber? This corridor that shimmers with a blue as rich as the sky of the surface? Fuck it, why not? Let's go. Let's go in. A howling wind, it fills your ears, but the air is still. Every facet of the ice crystal wall is the hard and the depthless blue of a desert sky. You take one step further in, and the blue plucks at your senses. Vertigo spins you. A voice intones, "This was the sky." Recall other places where there is no sky? I can't. Do I step into the sky? You'll be terribly exposed, but perhaps you'll learn something. Or do I leave Frostbound? I'll take a point of veils to see what's going on in the sky. The Horror of Emptiness. Yes, this blue is a brittle, savage barrier. Press against it and it will shatter, spilling you into the high wilderness. The stars are hungry and there is horror upon you. Your head spins. Increase your terror further to penetrate further into Frostfound. The right items may mean you may not have to sacrifice skill points. Okay, so we're up to 25 terror and I've lost the veils. But can I go into the Amethyst Gallery? Over there, a corridor is the deep violet of the more colourful undersea corals. Dappled shadows drift like fish. You are the centre of hunters' attention. Things like and unlike sharks. Long, sleek, half visible behind the walls. You have the sudden sense that they are vaster than sharks. Vaster than Frostfound itself. Ooh. Perspectives confound you. This place stretches away every direction through a dusty purple haze, as if you float in a cloud. The air is chill and cracking. Vast and shadowy shapes hang lifeless in the distant cloud. Fluid staining their hides. Whale things and beast things. Bigger than the dirigibles. Bigger than cities. You are a speck in the cloud. Are you still inside, Frostfound? Once again, there is a voice, lifeless as leaden type. There were casualties. Do I approach the Colossi? Fear is the way to the heart of Frostfound. You will not escape unscathed. Given what I did earlier, I'm going to need to be scared more before I come back here. So I'm going to leave for now. And we are going to get moving again. Because what we need to do is get some fuel. We are down to 4 fuel. That's not good. 1 second. And we're back. Sorry about that. I just needed a quick toilet break. And we will continue on our way. Now we've got a bit of a dilemma. I didn't realise we were down to 4 fuel. I don't know where the fuck that fuel went. But it means we've got a bit of a problem. We're almost out of fuel. And we are a ways from London. Now I'm hoping and praying that just to the left, just to the right, sorry, of Frostfound is going to be a place to buy fuel. So it's a gamble, but fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound, alright? What we'll do is turn my torch off, because as you can see that just takes the fuel usage down a little bit more. And we're not praying for death. Come on, gang. Give me what I need. Give me the Island of Dreams. Oh shit. That is a big boy. We do not want that guy to start shooting us because we're having a bad time. Yes! Gamble paid off, people. We're heading to Port Palmerston, where we can get dirt cheap fuel. Just absolute clown shoes cheap fuel. So Mount Palmerston, brimstone, always brimstone. Sullen lights glow green at the jetty's edge. Behind the port buildings, the island is knee-deep in ash. There are ruins here and there of houses destroyed by fire. Far above, the mountain's top flickers red, just for an instant. So I can't take note of that veiled woman because again I don't have a bloody submarine. We can explore the island. Tangles of thorn shrub climb the rocky slopes of the volcano. This was an empty clifftop above the bleak waves. Now it blazes with colour, striped tents, coloured flames, the music of pianola and kettle drum. Mustachioed women and languorous men play chess, carve bones, eat cats, and polish their terrifying brass weapons. These are the Iron Republic privateers, pirates whose practices contravene the very laws of nature. They are numerous but lost to wine and music. You will have the element of surprise, but it's very hard to know exactly what those weapons will do. So that gives us 50% chance, or we can creep close and eavesdrop, which will give us a 28% chance. I'm going to have to go with attacking them just because it's the better option. A disorientating battle. Your first volley does satisfyingly grievous damage, but a half-dozen privateers snatch up weapons. One is a sort of Gatling gun. One appears to fire bubbles composed of rainbow meat. A third makes it rain on your heart. A fourth weapon explodes in a shower of fat purple sparks that chip like canaries and chew their way through everything in the encampment. Privateers, tents, loot. The battle is over before it's begun, but by the time it's safe to approach, the sparks have devoured many of the privateers' treasures. So we won that one, we gained 92 echoes, got a little bit scared, and a bit more fragments for our secret. Lovely. So there's an officer to engage here, if we can, the Merciless Modiste. But she requires some parabola linen, which we do not have. We can chat to port folk about the Brimstone Convention. There was a revolution in hell, and the aristocracy of devils fled here. Here they plot an exile. A shrug and a curse. They don't do us any harm, they say up there, and we stay down here. If hell's fighting itself, what good? If hell's fighting itself, that's good for us all, isn't it? We could dig among the ruins, but it's not worth the supplies. However, they do sell fuel for 9 echoes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That takes us up to 15. It's kind of cleared us out, but worth it. That's us done with Port Palmerston. We can head on out. Oh boy. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to head back along the top of the map. We're going to get those black bits I've missed and then head down the kind of past the Chapel of Lights back to Fallen London that way. We'll start heading back to London. I've got plenty of fuel and plenty of supplies. It's just I'm going to wrap up this stream after a return to London. So we'll start heading that way. So far, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen of the game. Again, a lot of reading, so excuse my bad reading out. But it is just a lovely, weird little game that will eat at you. You'll play it for a couple of hours, and then you'll be like, oh, I could go down there, and I could explore this, and I could come back with some candles or whatnot. You end up with like a notebook full of crazy people writing about this game. But for now, we're just gonna cruise gently down the coast. Unfortunately, there is snow here, so it's gonna slow us right down. There we go. As you can see, ooh, excuse me. Our kind of top speed has been limited, and we're now just slowly chugging our way through the snowstorm. Come on, there we go, back into normal speed. I'm just gonna slowly work on getting rid of this black fog of war, because if there's anything that annoys me in video games, it's maps having fog of war on them. There we go, that's looking much better. I wonder if I'm able to get the ragged crow without the moth getting me. I wonder. Just boost quickly. You want to be careful with boosting because it may explode and fuck up your engines, but at the same time it does get you places a lot faster. And I'm just hoping to get in and out with this ragged crow. It's just essentially a big lighthouse, but there's that moth again. Don't like it. One more quick boost just to get us away from that. Oh no, so the engine's exploded. You've pushed your engines too far, too fast! Sailors scream, flames rage. Do what you can. A tough challenge. But I succeeded. I've only lost 7 hull. So that's taking us down to 47, which is not great, but it's still enough to get us home relatively safely. That looks like the Avid Horizon. Lovely stuff. Oh, missed this. Missed the gap. My bad. There, I reversed this bastard back into it. There we go. So welcome to Avid Horizon, otherwise known as the end. Two vast winged shapes guard a gate of something like resin, smooth but uneven. Deep Gant, the colour that remains when all other colours have been eaten. Ice crusts over the crack between its valves. Approach, and your breath freezes. Falls tinkling in shards from the air. It would be utterly foolish to touch the thing. A merciless wind blows from everywhere to everywhere. It passes without effort through your bridge coat, your flesh, your lungs. The dock lies empty. So let's retrieve that strategic information. From here, but you were given a sign to look for. There it is, carved on one of the pillars of the dock. Below the sign, an authoritative hand has carved this message. If you wish to return to London, if you seek the forgiveness of the Empress, if you will sacrifice all to make amends, record your name and crime. Below are the name of murderers, traitors, hopeless villains who fled into exile. They've made the icy pilgrimage here to the end of the world to prove their desperation to return home. You record them all, the old and the freshly carved. The Admiralty will pick through the names and make their choice. Leave now, quickly. Intelligence? Nothing moves. The stillness is itself of interest to the Admiralty. It is not impossible. Someone foolish might attempt to open the gate. It's not inconceivable that it might open from the other side. And what then? Your journey here may attract the attention of a certain crimson patron. Return your port report to the Admiralty in London to unlock a new story. And finally we can... You heard a story. The ice by the gate's edge. There was a whisper about a hunting quest and a final revenge. Yes, beyond... This is what the rumours meant. The hunter frozen in the ice, hands contorted to claws, mouth agape. With her left hand she had plucked her own eye from the socket. It lies very close to the surface of the ice. If the stories are true, there's a dark virtue in that eye. Take it then, but perhaps you should put it in a jar. That's got us a hunter's eye, and we've lost some fragments. Worth it. Finally, we can explore on the coastline and see what can be found on this bleak beach. An abandoned expedition. A ragged tent flaps in the freezing wind. Ice-encrusted bones lie tumbled at the flap. Someone came here to be forgotten. I've now got an outlandish artifact. We have gained 5 terror. We have gained 3 supplies. An eyeless skull. And an empty mirror catch box. There's a lot of things that I can use. But for now we are going to move on from the weird darkness that is Avatar Island. We're going to start our travels back to London. Choo choo. Just get the last bit of this last little bloody square at the top. There we go, lovely stuff. Now we're gonna head slightly to the southwest. There should be a little town by the name of Wither. Not Wither, because we've already been to Wither. We want to go to Codex, which is just down here. exiles and an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. So I can't agree to a damn request, I can't acquire a doomed monster hunter, but I can compile a report. No one will speak. This is a challenge. The exiles see many come, fewer leave. Some are even willing to communicate, but their gestures are unfamiliar, the meanings unclear. Even when you can understand, these are answers without questions, as useless as a key without a lock. And we now have one report from Codex. And that's basically all we can do here. I believe there may be a shop that sells fuel and supplies, again, at a marked up price. We should have enough to get us home though, so we're going to start heading south and hopefully reach London not too soon. Oh. A sailor has grown fretful and disobedient, reluctant to go on deck, even in port. There's a white Z-Bat watching me up there. Salt's messenger. Salt's got its eye on me. So I order him up to the deck at once because I pressed the button. All three have their attention on me, so... Let's see if there's anything here. No? We'll just stop off at the sea lions, the salt lions, before we finish. Oh, okay, that's one. There's only 20 points, so we can do that, but just have to bear in mind because they will rush me. There we go. Little leathery corpses lie scattered across your deck. The rest of the swarm vanishes into the Neathy dark. Let's get rid of those corpses. Get rid of some terror. Oh crap! Again, only 20 life, so we can... Ooh. With a forlorn and wailing cry, the Megalops turns on its back, legs neatly folded as bluish blood gouts from its wounds. Its golden glow begins to dim. I'm gonna dissect the fuck out of it. You set to work with your knives and acids. It is an undistinguished adolescent specimen, a Megalops, of one of the deep sea crab species. But its eyes, normally vestigial in these troglodytic beasts, are large and rather beautiful. The golden glow is almost gone now, although sparks leap now and then to your knife. Now it's given me some fragments, which is what we are wanting. Onward to the salt lions, baby. Jesus! Oh, we're down to 37. That's not good. Just fucking boost it straight to Zealport, which is the port of the Salt Lions. Now, I mentioned earlier you can get some nice money earners at Salt Lions. The Salt Lions. There is a vast sorrow in their empty eyes. Two basalt beasts, cathedral size. They frown eternally at each other across the black waves. The north one carries an encampment. Creeping human figures eat away at its figures like rot. Picking. There's a supply dock below. So we can visit the Unmakers. Muscular pick wielders rest on camp stools, watching you approach, passing hip flask around. An unctuous overseer beckons you to see. Fungal, tisane and tea cakes. We get funding from the bazaar, it's true, but Station 4? I wouldn't call us Station 4, that's a little grandiose. The stones are stuffed with secrets, and most of them are used to garden sanctuary or occult ballast. Most of them, some go down the places under the bazaar. More tea cakes? It's lost us 5 terror and gained a fragment. And then we can compile a port report. Record the activities of the Unmakers such as they were. Rite of stone and silence. And I've not got enough echo for the Sphinx Zone. What a shame. Right. We will head on back to London, I guess. Back home. Collect messages from the harbour master. All the clatter and song of the dockside, it soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? Something's exchanged, someone wants to sign on. The blind bruiser tends to business on the dock. Good evening, Captain, and what a marvellous evening it is, if you don't mind my saying so, and given it is mine impression you are an obliging sort, I imagine you will not mind at all. And since you are so very obliging, perhaps you wouldn't mind taking a little detour via Mount Palmerston with a few articles of cargo, if you happen to be in the area. The cheery man will of course cover your expenses for this trifling inconvenience. So you want me to go back to Palmerston? Alright. I know where it is, at least. If you would be so kind to deliver this little gift to our friends in Mount Palmerston, then they will see we get to hear about it. Alright. And when you come back, we'll cover your expenses. Bon voyage, as my aunt, who was French by birth and if not by inclination, used to like to say. So we gotta go to... an unstamped crate of brilliant souls to Mount Palmerston. So I'm now smuggling souls. Alright, so we will quickly go to the dark speckled Admiral. We will pass on the strategic information. He will give us 150 echoes and a favour. We will also give him port reports for Mount Palmerston, Avid Horizon, Frostfound, Codex, Salt Lions, Quaker's Haven, Mutton Island, and ask if there's anywhere in particular they need. Let's just go to the Empire of Hands, to the far to the east. Empire of Hands, eh? Now if you hear rustling, that is because I am actually literally writing these things down. So we've got Empire of Hands. We've got Poly Stream. The Mangrove. College. We've also got Souls for Mount Palmerston. And before we finish, I'll just do a little bit of wrapping up. We will go back to the docks. We will repair our ship with the Admiralty yards. We can call in a favour, so that will cost us 24 echoes and 3 favours, but it will take our hull completely back up to fixed. And we will also, as you can see, there's a lot more stuff here. We will go to the lodgings, read the morning papers, and we still need a fair bit more for our house. So I'm going to leave it here for now. This has been first couple of hours of Sunless Seas. I hope you enjoyed the stream. We will do this again next Friday, where we will continue. We will go back to Mount Palmerston. We will find Polythreme, hopefully, and the Mangrove College. And we will explore kind of the bottom half of the map on that run. We'll see what's on the south coast, and possibly even get a submarine, or get started on the submarine, because there's a lot of quests that we've come across today that we weren't able to do because we didn't have a submarine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with my reading. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen of this game. If you're interested in it, like I say, you can get it on pretty much every console and PC. It's a indie game, so it goes for nothing. There's also the sequel, Sunless Skies, which we will get into some point. Please stick around. Please join my Twitch and the Discord if you want to keep updated on any more streams I'm doing. The next stream is Sunday evening. This Sunday evening, Sunday, where I will be busting out Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, a interesting little turn-based / real-time strategy game that I made. That is a fantastic Battlestar Galactica game that no one played, because again, like this one, it was a small indie title and didn't get much press coverage. It's not one of your AAA titles. It's very much a B title, but I love these little quiet B games. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you all, or speak to you all, next week for Sunless Seas, and Sunday for Battlestar Galactica Deadlock. Thank you very much, and take care. Stay sexy.